Hey everybody, this is Lorena with Synergy Behavior Solutions, and I wanted to do something a little more fun and light today, but I'm still going to be talking about. Ooh, my thing just cut out. Are we good? I think I'm there. Okay. If you can see me and you are here, you should drop a comment and say hello. But I am teaching a class in a couple of weeks, so the next couple lives today and next week that I'm going to do are about some of the themes and some of the activities or exercises that I'll be doing in that class. And the class is really about tapping into a little bit more of the potential that our dogs have for things like fitness and thinking outside the box with exercise and thinking more about how do I get my dog tired in a good way rather than just exhausted. And I'm somebody who Summer is here with me today. This guy, buddy, you want to say hi? And he is a dog that when he was younger, I did a whole lot of fetch. He loves balls. He's definitely a ball dog. And so I had a chuck it, and I would throw that chuck it 20, 30, 40 times in a day. Hi, Christine. Thanks for saying hello. Happy to have you. And just chuck it and chuck it and chuck it over and over and over again. And I will admit I have some regrets doing that for probably about 5 years or so to Summer's body and to his brain. And I'd say that one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about over the last year or so is how we put our dogs through some pretty grueling physical and strenuous workouts like every day. Not just even if you don't do a lot of chuck it throwing with your dogs, which is really really hard on their bodies for a variety of reasons. But maybe your dog runs with you. Maybe you go for long hikes with your dog. Maybe you bike alongside your dog while your dog runs. Any of these kinds of high intensity exercise situations. And I know lots of people who do those things with their dogs, and I don't know any of them that actually help their dogs stretch. So if you go for a run and you're sore afterward and you have to stretch and you have to do some cross training and thinking about protecting your hips and your knees and your ankles and doing some core strengthening, etc., your dog does too. Your dog needs those things. Your dog is also an athlete, and so how do we kind of just really simply take care of our dog's bodies? So I'm thinking about this a lot with my pit bull, who's younger. She's like 5. You've seen her a lot on here. I decided to have Summer today because he hasn't been featured in a live in a while. And also because Summer is an example of a dog who was put through a lot of really strenuous exercise when he was younger. And I didn't think about doing things like stretching and conditioning. And now at 10 years old, he's in quite a bit of pain, chronic pain with like spine arthritis and some weakness in his hind end. He still wants to be an incredibly active dog, and he's still super sharp, but it's challenging to watch him struggle to get up and down after naps or whatever, because honestly, because I don't think I took good care of his body when he was younger. So we've actually been to see like a physiotherapist. We'll probably feature her really awesome page on our page at some point soon. But one of the things that I've been trying to do more with him is just some really simple exercises to help strengthen his hind end and his core and give him some flexibility mentally and physically. So I chose Summer because he is not as physically capable and as confident in training as my pit bull. So I just want to show you some of the really easy and simple things you can do with your dog that will tire out their brain and their body, and also can do some nice conditioning for them if you have an athletic dog. And anybody who's interested in learning more about these topics and really simple ways you can enhance your dog's life, especially if you have what we might call a high energy dog, maybe a breed that is considered high energy, or a dog that is really, really active. Hi, Jessica. And she is a really active dog. He's a little one, but he's active. So if you're interested, I'm running a class called Wild Pups. We're going to be doing a lot of scent work, fitness, and parkour type stuff. And pretty much every week you'll get... What's that? You'll get a new variety of activities to do with your dog. I'm gonna use my Furbo for my Pitty downstairs, who is probably barking at somebody out on the street, but also she gets super jealous when she knows that Summer is training and she doesn't get to participate. So I'm gonna use my Furbo to do some like redirection. If you don't have one, highly recommend them. So just going to do a few really simple exercises to let you know kind of like some of what I'm doing. Before I jump in and show you the demo with Summer, I'm going to say with Yoshi we do a little bit more. So we're really getting into some really fun rear foot targeting with her. My goal for her is that I actually want her to be able to do a handstand. At some point, we're moving very slow to that goal, but right now she's able to do rear foot targeting fairly intentionally onto some higher things. And I'm really careful about keeping her spine in line and stuff like that. Really short sessions because that's hard work for these dogs. And also, when I got her as a puppy, she had some deformities in her legs, and so I want to make sure that I'm strengthening her enough that it's not going to injure her down the road. And one of the things that I really like to do with dogs that run a lot is Yoshi. I actually train her to put her paws up on my chest or almost up to my shoulders. You know, she's big dog. And I will ask her to come up on me, and then I actually will encourage her to stretch. So she stretches her whole core, she gets some nice strengthening in her hind end, and I will actually use that opportunity to massage her muscles and shoulders. So even if that's all you do after you take your dog for a run, that can be really great for them to stretch out some of that stuff that's been bunched up as they run beside you or go for a strenuous hike or whatever it might be. Maybe I'll demo that another time with Yoshi, but Summer does not jump up, and he also has weak hind end, so I wouldn't be asking him to do something that intense because he could probably like fall over. So instead, we're going to do a slight variation of that right after we do some really basic sit down stand. So even if your dog has no fancy behaviors, even if your dog doesn't even know these verbal cues, I'm going to be using treats to lure him into position. So we're just going to do some sit down stand to work on different variations of getting into those positions. And he is doing some like shift back sits rather than like a tuck sit, which if you don't know what that is, it doesn't matter. But basically we're just going to be moving through the different positions and encouraging him to participate. So yeah, it doesn't need to be a lot. And really all I do is ask my dog for a behavior. And this is just his breakfast, so he gets to earn it while we work. Down. Good. And then I'll feed him in position. Stand. Good. And if you can get your dog, the more that you practice this, you'll start to notice that if you can work on, down. If you can work on your dog keeping their feet planted, that would be the ultimate goal to really get some nice stability and a good workout for their core. Stand. Good. And Summer's like working on being able to do a nice stand without moving his paws a whole lot. His stand's pretty good. But you'll notice that his down kind of happens like in two parts, and that's definitely where he's got that pain in his back there. Sit. Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, go bold. So just a sit down stand, nothing big. Down. Make sure you're positioning yourself so that your dog doesn't need to turn to look at you or to get the rewards. Stand. Good. And if you never taught your dog a stand before, it's super fun and also really easy. Down. All you need to do is lure them, so you just take a treat in front of their nose, and then bring it up, and then reward in position. I really like to reward in position. It's such an easy way to build behaviors. And then one other thing that Summer has been working on, give him a little break, is a bow or a bend. Bend, nice. And you can do that super, super easily by just doing bend, giving your dog like a half down, and then tossing the treat. You can even just bend, toss it ahead of them. Bend. So now he's getting a nice stretch of his core. Bend. And over time I would actually be able to build the duration, bend, without him going into a down. Super cool thing I discovered with Summer recently, actually, bend, was that he's a super playful dog, and he's just a perpetual puppy, regardless of how old he gets. And, bend. Nice. And I actually learned that if I do this exercise with a toy, he will stay in a bend until I release him. Whereas with a treat, you'll notice bend. He goes into a down. But if I can get him a little bit more arousal and excitement with the toy, he does a really awesome job of staying in his bend in a really nice position for, I think I've gotten him up to 10 seconds already. So, super simple, sit down stand. Do it a few times a day. Think about getting like 5 reps and mix it up. Sometimes it's like down to stand, sometimes it's sit to stand. I don't think we actually did a sit to stand. Let's do that one real quick. Ready? Sit. Oh no! Sit. He's already getting tired, this guy. Ready? Stand. Good. So just a nice step forward. Sit. Stand. Go get it. Summer is not super comfortable in a sit, again, because he's got the hind end stuff, and I think also just big dogs don't really find that position super comfortable. So if he's hesitant to do any of those behaviors on some day, I don't try to force him into it or convince him. I don't care if he responds to the cues correctly. I want him to do what feels good for his body. That's not what I'm concerned about is obedience here. I'm concerned about him just getting a variety of different movements and behaviors, especially for an older dog. So one of my other favorite fitness exercises and confidence boosters and just all-around behaviors to teach is two paws on. So you've probably seen me teach this before if you've seen any of my classes or lives. Yoshi is a two paws on champion, but Summer has only really recently gotten enough confidence in his hind ends to be doing two paws on. And I was looking around my house today for objects that are not dog fitness specific. So if you really want to have fun with this, I recommend you check out Fit Paws USA. Cleanrun.com has options for buying some really simple equipment for doing fun doggy aerobics type stuff. But you can also do this without any equipment. So I wanted to pick something that wasn't dog fitness specific. I actually taught Summer his two paws on exercise and some pivoting around the object with an upside down plant pot holder thing, like a ceramic one, so it didn't move around. He's 100 pounds. But I actually recently put a plant in it, so I don't have his pot anymore. So I wanted to pick something different. I actually just have these like foam squares, so I'm just gonna pile them up and use them to do a little bit of two paws on. I will say, Summer is like not super confident in his hind end. He's never been a dog that jumps up a lot. We've really had to work on his confidence around body awareness and body movement over the years. And so when I think about using this stack of foam pads, I know that they can slide around, so I want to make sure that I'm not startling him or having him fall off. And because he quickly gets tired, I really suggest when you start working on this that you try not to work your dog until they're exhausted. Make sure that you're doing short sessions and the dog has like good form. Just like when we go learn to lift weights or we're learning lunges or planks or whatever, form is more important than reps or duration. So I just teach my dog to put their paws up on something, and you can do like stretch forward. You can even have them sit. See if they can sit while they're doing two paws on. Ooh, that's hard for you, huh? Like, no, not yet, and that's fine. And one of the things that we're working on with him is also a pivot. So I want his hind end to move around in a circle. And he's still really, really trying to figure this one out because he's not super hind end aware or confident. Yes. So I'm just gonna mark any, yes, slight movement or shifting in his hind end to see if we can get a little bit of pivoting happening. And you'll find when you're working on this that your dog is actually more likely, oh, you found it, good job. Your dog is more likely to be comfortable on one side than another. Yes. And for him, he's much more comfortable going this direction, so that would be his left, yes, than to the right. So it's just short little movements for him, yes, as he's figuring out how his hind end works, because dogs are not super aware they even have a hind end, and so this is still pretty new to him. So you'll notice that when I go on this side, oh yes, he's actually doing really well. He struggles a little bit more to get that movement in the right back leg. And so he stepped off, telling me he needs a break. I'm going to offer him some treats on the ground. And then see if he wants to go back. When I'm doing fitness exercises like this, I actually will just take one small handful of kibble or treats, and when it's done, that session is done. So I don't want to, it's really easy to go too far with this, especially if you're excited about the fact that your dog did two paws on for the first time, or Summer was actually doing some better pivoting than he's been doing recently, because he's pretty stiff in his hind end, and it's easy to want to go farther than we should, and we don't want to hurt our dogs. So you want to start out really small, just little reps. I want to get that last little leg to move. Yes! And then I'm just going to release him. So, super simple game. Start working on pivots. If you're interested in doing like formal heeling or anything like that. Pivoting is really helpful for that too. But it's super cool how it increases your dog's power and confidence in physical activity to get some hind end awareness. So speaking of hind end awareness, how much time do we have? 1 minute. So I'm just going to do some really quick rear end targeting, which I've shown before with Yoshi, I think. But with Summer, I'm not going to use an object for him to be standing on just yet. We're just going to do a little bit of rewarding his back paws on a thing, and then seeing if we can get those nice little body weight shifts back and forth. And see if we get that nice little back up. That's what I'm looking for here. And he's doing a pretty good job. Some nice shifting backward. Yes, good work, buddy. Nice job. Give him a treat here to reset. Then we'll do one more rep. Doesn't have to be a long time, just a good time. So I just feed my dog close to my body. Yes. And when they back up, I mark. Yes. Yes, good boy. Oh, get it. Your dog goes into a sit when you're working on rear foot targeting. Super normal, just reset. Yes. And I just like him learning that weight shift. Yes. Back and forth. Yes. Yes, good job, buddy. So super simple, easy stuff. I'm not trying to do anything fancy. You don't need to be pro dog trainer. Your dog doesn't need to be super athletic or have a lot of fancy behaviors. Sit down, stand, luring up into 2 paws on, getting your dog to shift their weight back and forth. Think about how that gets their muscles moving. If your dog is an athlete, if you go running, if you go and can you imagine going from a complete standstill with no warm-up to exploding at ultimate 110% intensity after a ball, and then doing that another 30 times? So if you're somebody who does that kind of thing with your dog, you really need to balance it out with some stretching and some working out of those stopping muscles required to stop so quickly to catch the ball. It's just not super good for your dog's body. So if your dog is a ball hog and really wants to chase, then make sure that you're doing some strengthening and some stretching exercises as well. Also, maybe do some sniff walks in place of the high intensity exercise every now and then to give your dog some time to recover. So thanks for joining me. This is just a fun, giving my dog a workout, and you can watch me do that. And let me know if you have any questions. Please check out our Wild Pups class if you're interested in learning more about how you can kind of meet your dog's physical and mental potential a little bit more, and have a wider variety of activities to do with your dog, especially if your dog is a high energy breed or a dog that doesn't seem to have an off switch. I'll talk more about that next week. Otherwise, have a lovely day, and I will talk to you all soon.